Hi everyone. Today we are going to continue our discussion about the 3 best and 3 worst exercises you can do. This time the topic is building the deltoid muscle. The shoulder, it consists of 3 heads: anterior, medial, and posterior heads. The exercises I'm going to explain to you are gonna be the 3 best, the ones you really need to include in your routine, and then I'm gonna talk about the 3 worst, the ones you don't really need or maybe you shouldn't do. Let's get right into it. The number 1 exercise is the reverse Pec Deck. The reason why you should do reverse Pec Deck is because you need to focus more on developing the rear delt. In fact, most of the people who goes to the gym doesn't train rear delt, that's why. So they have huge anterior delt, but undertrained rear delts. Those people are always doing bench press and shoulder press, doing push-ups. So that the anterior delt gets a lot of training volume, same for the side delt, a little bit less bigger than the front delt. But the rear delts is forgotten. If you want that big shoulder, that massive look you are going for, you must train the entire shoulder. The second exercise is side laterals. For this exercise, the preferable version would be the one with a machine. However, if you don't have the side lateral machine at your gym, you can do standing side laterals. That would be great as well. Also, while doing standing side laterals, you can add a little bit of cheat. Using a swing, do some more reps past failure, in order to get some more volume. This tip is applicable especially for intermediate and advanced weightlifters. For beginners, I suggest you to focus on form mainly, because in the beginning the muscles don't need a huge stimulus to grow. However, if you have low back injuries and you can't do standing side laterals, then do seated side laterals. It's okay. The third best exercise would be the seated overhead press. Also, in this case, you want to use a machine to do it. The reason why you should use the machine is because it's safer and it will help to prevent injuries. However, you can do also dumbbell or barbell overhead press. It's okay, but be careful with your form and also don't ego lift, because shoulders are very delicate and it's easy to injure them. So if you do standing dumbbell barbell overhead press, make sure to wear a belt, but it would be better to be seated in order to reduce chances of injuries. So focus on controlling the weight, focus on time under tension. Also, don't ever think to do behind the neck overhead press. It's a bad exercise, and you don't. So, those are your 3 best exercises for shoulders. Let's see the 3 worst ones, those to avoid. The first one would be the standing upright row. This exercise is performed by grabbing a bar in front of you and raising your elbows pointing to the ceiling and your hands goes towards your chin. There are problems with shoulder impingement, and doing this exercise has a major focus on anterior delt, so you should avoid it. However, if you want to do it, you should raise your hands no higher than your shoulder. Stop the movement when you reach the top of your chest. Also lean a little bit forward. In this way the exercise becomes more safer for the shoulder joint. Then, the second worst exercise would be face pulls. Also, many people do it wrong. In fact, you should pull from above your head, not from below. It's not a row. Also, a lot use the wrong grip. In fact, you should grab underneath in order to activate properly the rear delt. While performing this exercise, you should think that you are doing a double biceps pose. That's the correct form. Now with this adjustments, it's okay to do face pulls. But it is better to do reverse Pec Deck, because it would be easier to activate properly the rear delt and use a weight that allows you to train hard and progressive overload. So my suggestion would be to use face pulls as a warm-up exercise, if you like them. Another tip if you want to do face pulls: don't do them standing. Instead, sit on the floor and lean back a little bit, and when you pull, imagine to do a double biceps pose. In this way you're going to engage the rear delts. Now, the worst exercise for your shoulder is the front dumbbell raise. The reason why you shouldn't do it is because your front delt is always overdeveloped, so it's a waste of time in my opinion. Also, if you have an overdeveloped front delt and an underdeveloped rear delt, your posture will suffer from it, and you'll find yourself slouch all the time. Hope you like the video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, comment, like and share with your friend. See you on the next video.